The K-Series has been in the car for a little while now. I haven't really kept up with filming it because it's been cold out and I haven't really been motivated to make any videos, but everything is pretty much in place, and this is going to be a rundown of just what I've done just before I get the ECU and finally start it. So let's get to it. We'll start from the back. I already made this exhaust a long time ago when I did my M20 Turbo, and it sounded decent, so I decided to keep it and modify it to fit the new K-Series. Fitting the K-Series was different, so I had to make a new downpipe and then adjust the exhaust to fit that new downpipe. It's a lot closer to the firewall than the M20 was. Another thing I did was complete the wire harness. It is a plug-and-play wire harness from K24 Industries, so everything is hooked up to the engine and ran through the firewall. Right now, all I have to do is plug in the ECU that I've been waiting for about 3 months now. But once that comes, I'll be able to upload the stock TSX base map and start her up, since I have the stock map sensor and the stock injectors from a TSX. I also did my fuel lines just from Amazon with this regulator here that I got also off of Amazon, just to see if this works out. It goes into the stock E30 feed and return fuel lines, just with a barb fitting, barb to AN adapter, which is nice and secure. It's nice and tight, so I'm not really worried about that. Another thing is the power steering. You can't see it obviously, but I'm using a Volvo electric power steering pump, which I just have to hook up. I have all the lines, I have everything that I need for it, but that's one of the last things I'm going to do. Right there is the downpipe. Not the best welds, but it'll hold very close to the firewall. Everything about this swap is super close to the firewall. I kind of want to chop out everything that's in there, all the heater accessories or whatever, but I would like to retain heat in this car if I can, just because I do like to drive in the winter, especially if it's not snowing. Big turbo, schmuck built turbo manifold. I do have to put the feed line on. I have the return going to the timing case right there. Oh, I also have to do the grounds. That's another thing. But for the most part, everything is there. Hunter tuned fuel rail. I also have 1500 cc injectors for when I break in the clutch and get this thing ready to be tuned. And taking a look at the inside, you can see the wire harness right there. The ECU will plug right into those clips you see, but everything else has pretty much remained the same. Same steering wheel, same shifter. The shifter leans back just a tad, but once it's running, I will adjust it so it's straight. That's neutral right now, even though it's kind of leaning toward fourth. Alright, so this is a Volvo power steering pump that I have. It'll stay right here in the trunk. I have about 14 or 15 feet of high pressure line that I'll run from the rack to the trunk, along with 20 feet of the low pressure line, also going from the rack to the trunk. And I bought the fittings. I just have to throw them in, throw some fluid in there, bleed it, and it should be good. It's really just those two wires. I'm going to run it to a switch just so I can shut it off and on when I want. And that's really it. I'm going to try to put that in the corner somewhere, maybe in this corner here, or right next to the battery back there. Enough room for a sub. I would like this car to be kind of like street friendly. The FRS has slowly become almost like a full track car. The thing really isn't comfortable, so I'd like to keep this a little more comfortable, maybe with a bucket seat for the driver's seat, but that's really it. No cage or any of that. But other than that, the transmission wasn't that hard to get onto the K-Series with the adapter plate from K24 Industries. I bought some solid mounts for it, and the last thing I'm going to have to do is run my coolant lines, which are right there. Use some universal flexible coolant line that I'm going to adapt right to the E30 radiator, and just do my intake piping from the intercooler right there to right there and right there to the turbo. I'll probably use a turbo guard and call it a day with that. So that is more or less the update on the E30. Everything else has pretty much stayed the same. With luck, I'll have it started within the next 2 weeks. When this ECU shows up, it's taken them a long time to ship that to me. And I'll probably drive it around for a month just on a base map just to break in the clutch. I have a spec clutch in there, spec stage 5 I believe, or stage 4, I don't even remember. I've gotten so many things for this car. But once that's broken in, I'll get it tuned. I'm aiming for 12 to 15 PSI, maybe a little more if it can handle it. And I'd really like 500 wheel out of this thing. It'd be really fun. Small zippy car. I may do an angle kit. Right now I'm just on extended lowers and extended tie rods, and it has plenty of angle. I've done a few donuts in it when it was not blown, but we'll see. This thing will definitely be at Lock City this year. That's the goal. I know March may be the first event. I don't know if I'll make it, but we'll see. With luck, this will be at Lock City this year, and I will get a ton of seat time in this thing because I love how it looks and I like how it handles. And I've done everything to it, so it's ready. All bushings, everything. So stay tuned. I will update as soon as I get it started. I haven't given up on it, and we'll iron out any issues we have once it's started. Check y'all soon.